that's one of the major challenges of this is in designing and maintaining that type of relative geometry in a space where you can't afford to make any mistakes.
The stones are immense, and some of them were cut from a quarry that's hundreds of miles away.
Well, some of them, the granite in the Great Pyramid comes from more than 500 miles to the south.
Can you imagine that ancient Egyptians might have achieved a level of technological mastery that surpasses even today's standards? If the pyramids are the greatest world monuments above the surface of the earth, the subterranean Serapeum of Saqqara are the greatest under the surface. And it holds some of Egypt's most puzzling secrets underground. This labyrinth of tunnels, carved deep into solid rock, spans nearly 400 meters. The main corridor stretches 300 meters, with a rounded ceiling and a width of just over 3 meters. It's a marvel of engineering, especially considering it wasn't sand they carved through, it was stone. No modern equipment, no apparent light sources, and yet this intricate underground network exists. There are no burn marks from torches, no indication of how they illuminated their work. This mystery alone has sparked theories that the ancient builders possessed tools or methods far beyond what we know today. Some even suggest they used advanced machinery or, as legends say, enlisted the help of otherworldly beings. At the heart of this enigma lie 24 immense granite boxes. Each one weighs between 70 and 100 tons, with a level of precision that would challenge even modern engineers. The angles are flawless, the surface is polished to a mirror finish, and they're perfectly positioned in their underground chambers. Discovered in 1850 by Auguste Mariette, these boxes are thought to have served as sarcophagi for sacred Apis bulls. But how? How did an ancient civilization, equipped with only copper tools, carve such hard granite with such perfection? And how were these massive boxes transported and installed in such a confined space? Archaeologists believe the Serapeum of Saqqara served as a burial site for the sacred Apis bulls, revered as incarnations of the god Ptah. But the sheer effort, the precision, and the scale involved in creating this site raise questions. Why go to such extraordinary lengths to bury these bulls, even if they were considered divine? It feels like overkill, and the mystery only deepens the closer you look. Buried within miles of underground tunnels, the granite boxes of the Serapeum are astonishing. Carved from massive blocks of granite, they feature perfectly sharp 90-degree corners and walls so smooth and precise that even modern tools would struggle to replicate them. Inside, the walls maintain flawless geometry, even across spans of 11 feet. Precision like this is measured in thousandths of an inch, a deviation so tiny it's nearly impossible to achieve, even with today's technology. And yet, the tools available to ancient Egyptians were simple: copper, iron, and bronze. How could they have achieved such mathematical and architectural perfection with such rudimentary equipment? The official explanation leaves much to be desired. Mainstream archaeologists date these boxes to around 3000 BC based on crude inscriptions found on a few of them. But the scratches and amateur carvings stand in stark contrast to the polished surfaces of the boxes themselves. It's as if an entirely different group, far less skilled, came along later and added their graffiti to something far older and far more advanced. There's another layer to the puzzle. The granite used for many of the boxes wasn't local to Saqqara. Much of it came from quarries hundreds of miles away, in Aswan in the eastern desert. Transporting these colossal blocks, some weighing over 200 tons in their raw state, across mountainous terrain, deserts, or even the Nile River would be an engineering nightmare, without advanced machinery or technology. And once the granite arrived, the task of carving and polishing these massive boxes still remained. Each finished box weighs between 70 and 100 tons, yet they fit with perfect precision in their underground chambers. The logistics, tools, and manpower required to achieve this seem almost inconceivable. Egyptologists often describe ancient construction techniques with theories of stones dragged on sledges and sand poured beneath them, to smooth their path. But when you consider the sheer size and weight of the Serapeum boxes, these explanations quickly unravel. One of the most puzzling finds is an abandoned box in the middle of a tunnel without even a wooden sledge beneath it. Shifting such a massive object would require hundreds of workers, but there's no room in the narrow tunnels to accommodate them, let alone coordinate such an effort. This particular box offers a glimpse into the challenges faced by its creators. The tunnel it sits in is just 2 feet wider than the box itself, leaving no space for teams of men to maneuver. Even more curiously, the box is unfinished, suggesting that the intricate carving and polishing weren't done above ground, but deep within these claustrophobic tunnels. Some boxes lack lids entirely, while others have lids left discarded at the entrance. These signs hint at a project that was abruptly abandoned, raising more questions than answers. Now, imagine the conditions in these tunnels. Workers would have had to labor in oppressive darkness, carving and polishing granite while trapped in tight spaces with poor ventilation. The air would have been choked with dust from their efforts. Despite these challenges, they managed to achieve an astonishing level of precision with measurements accurate to thousandths of an inch. Today, even with modern technology, working with granite on this scale is a nightmare. Explosives are typically used to break apart the stone, followed by heavy machinery to lift and transport it. Enormous saws powered by hydraulics cut the granite into manageable pieces. Even with all this, creating a single Serapeum box today would be a monumental task, and modern engineers would likely take shortcuts, assembling boxes from multiple pieces of granite instead of carving them from a single block. The thought of ancient Egyptians carving these massive boxes with handheld tools feels almost implausible. Precision like this requires advanced stone-cutting techniques and tools that are still a challenge to replicate in modern times. The uniform thickness of the box walls, the flawless interiors, and the perfect alignment all defy logical explanation. We have established that the polished exteriors of the Serapeum boxes are remarkable, but their interiors are even more astonishing. Polished to a mirror-like sheen, they reflect light despite centuries of neglect. Researchers have noted that stoneworkers of that era likely didn't rely on abrasive techniques for this finish. Instead, they may have used a chemical solution, evidence of which remains in hardened droplets on the base of some lids. This mysterious residue suggests a lost formula, an advanced technique no longer known to us. But why all this effort? These boxes weren't just functional, they were masterpieces. The geometry, the unbroken surfaces, the sheer precision, they defy conventional explanations. Pounding granite with stone mauls would have shattered the blocks. Chiseling away the interior would have taken an eternity and been fraught with mistakes. Yet these craftsmen achieved what seems impossible, hollowing out perfect interiors without cracks or flaws. Mainstream theories suggest these colossal boxes were made to house the remains of sacred Apis bulls. If we accept this, we also have to believe that an ancient civilization, with no advanced tools, quarried massive granite blocks from eastern Egypt and Aswan, transported them over hundreds of miles, and shaped them into geometric perfection. And for what? To bury bulls? Why would bulls require sarcophagi of this size and complexity? The sizes of these boxes are staggering. The largest stretch over 13 feet long and 6.5 feet wide, dwarfing the needs of even the most honored Apis bull. If their comfort was truly the focus, why are other bulls found in much simpler wooden coffins nearby? Even pharaohs, rulers of an empire, were often buried in coffins so small their bodies barely fit. The scale and detail of these boxes seem far beyond what tradition or practicality would dictate. None of it adds up. And yet, there is another mystery at play here. Why did the ancient Egyptians choose granite for the Serapeum boxes when limestone was readily available? Limestone, softer, lighter, and far easier to work with, was already a cornerstone of Egyptian construction. It was abundant in Saqqara's quarries and would have significantly reduced the immense labor required. And yet, granite was the chosen material. Transported from hundreds of miles away, it begs the question, why granite? Some experts propose an intriguing explanation. Russian cosmonaut Konstantin Borisov theorized that granite's unique properties made it indispensable. Granite, unlike limestone, is non-porous, allowing the boxes to form airtight seals when their heavy lids were placed on top. Moreover, granite contains quartz crystals, which generate an electric charge under mechanical stress, a property known as piezoelectricity. Could it be that these granite boxes were more than sarcophagi? Could they have been sophisticated devices, potentially functioning as energy generators? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.